Good morning, boys. You join me for another off-season vlog. So kicking things off, you're joining me actually with meal number one. So here we have 300 grams raw weight sweet potato, 100 veg mixed with made together by cherry tomatoes, sauerkraut, 200 grams cooked weight prawns, some paprika, turmeric all over the top, cooked in 10 grams of coconut oil. So actually 5 coconut oil with this meal, 5 with the other. I prepare all my potatoes at once and put in the 10, mix it in the 10 coconut oil, so it will work out 5 per meal, and then 100 grams of pineapple on the side. And you may have seen, if you're very observant, we have the Osmo wants to face me again. We have the cream of rice being prepped. That is the post-workout meal. So on that note, what have we got coming up today? So you're joining me on a fantastic day actually. Day off work, full body session, some content filming to go down, Christmas movie this evening, and then that's what's to come, but what has already been achieved this morning. So Thursday, it is Thursday the 18th of December, so this is actually one of my 2 check-in days with myself, since I'm self-coaching the process. And I'm coming out of a diet, where you're prone to body fat gain. You need to keep a close eye on things. It's not like I'm deep into the off season, so I do check in twice per week. So send myself over my visuals. I check visuals every morning, but this is one where I'll send myself on WhatsApp my fasted visuals and just an update on the week, body weight trends I'm noticing, any biofeedback that's going very well or very negative. But that's one of 2 days today. So this check-in day, I've took my shots, showered, went for a wee 15-minute dander outside, obviously started prepping the cream of rice, and that's really it. Need to get into meal one here, because if I do want to end up having my post-workout with Butcher in the Clio, in the Renault, I've got a full body session, so I need to get there to the gym a little bit earlier than him. I think he's just got like pushing arms or something, some short session. But we don't do that around here. We train everything 3 times per week, 156 opportunities a year to grow a muscle group by doing that. Can't really argue with the fact of training at high frequency being more beneficial in my eyes. But yeah, we'll leave this first little clip here. Don't know when I'll pick up the camera, but I'll try as always to get the ins and outs of the day in the life, and not just training content and picking up the camera when there's something I want to speak about. You're actually joining me immediately. I figured I'd show you what I'm watching alongside meal number one. I've got the Natural Physique podcast. Love listening to the boys chat shit. Little plug, if you haven't watched Beyond the Process episode 1 and Lifestyle Loops episode 1, the 2 podcasts that I feature on, go give them a watch. They are good crack. If you do like the Natural Physique podcast, the sort of funny aspect where they just chat a load of shit, because that's what I like about it. Beyond the Process and Lifestyle Loops, to be fair, are definitely both podcasts for you. And Lifestyle Loops episode 1, we literally rank Ben and Jerry's flavours, and Beyond the Process, it's just a whole realm of its own when it comes to chatting shite or spouting shite. I quite like that phrase. But meal one time, I shall dig into a little prawn on camera. Didn't actually season my prawns directly, I just sprinkled some seasoning over the top. Bellissimo. The paprika is there for taste, but turmeric does have multiple health benefits with the anti-inflammatory properties. Here we are again, another round of steps. You'll notice constantly walking. This is my 3rd bout of steps today. I think it's such a key to your off season, whether it's digestion, blood glucose management, even appetite, mental clarity as well. So many benefits to steps. If we eat a meal, the main reason I do it is the blood glucose control. I have heard, it was Christian Chapman actually said that it was noted somewhere that a walk after a meal can actually alleviate that blood glucose spike after a meal, similar to a GDA. So I, at the minute, since coming out of my reversing out of my diet, I'm walking after every single meal. You can keep blood glucose in check, insulin sensitivity in check. Your body's going to be churning through the food, utilising that food. You're going to earn food bumps and you're going to build more muscle. But a podcast of choice is the Ella Calvary guest episode on Board Shorts and Banter. Used to be a very avid listener, but have dipped off in consuming the Board Shorts and Banter podcast. Just absolutely hate men's physique. But anyways, while I'm out on a walk, a little update. Oh, I hate the wind, man. What is this? I actually hate the wind. Little update on myself. So, as you seen in the last clip, meal 1, I'm testing out a new approach to my training day macro allotments, I guess you could say. If you've followed me for a little while, you'll know I'm a big fan of a protein fat meal 1, keeping the carbs out of meal 1, letting that blood glucose drop before you introduce the carbs, as a way of controlling insulin sensitivity. However, with the higher food on training days as opposed to rest days, the trace carb meal 1 is staying in on rest days, but I'm opting to just share out that food more evenly on a training day to uphold digestion. Now, I'm keeping an eye on my blood glucose readings. I've obviously got a good HbA1c score from when I pulled my bloods, but we are making sure that we're not noting any trending upwards of my fasted blood glucose with the carbs in meal 1, and we're not. The body is churning through the food. Sitting at 179 pounds this morning. Visuals I was happy with. This wind is really fucking me off. But yeah, off season is sort of in full swing. I can feel like I can output everything in my training sessions, even at 35, 36 pounds below peak off season body weight before the mini cup. So yeah, we are very much firing on all cylinders. Outside of bodybuilding, an update on me, not much goes on really outside of my bodybuilding. My life is just sort of movies, TV shows, bodybuild. And under the bodybuilding category, that includes my eating and training and sleeping. Basically everything revolves around bodybuilding, which is the way I like it, to be fair. But what I can comment on, movies, TV shows, the new TV show Watch, Ozark. I am on episode 8, absolutely loving it, to be fair. A very good watch if you haven't started it up. We've still got Pluribus coming out on Fridays. I'm loving the weekly. Well, I say loving, I'm somewhat enjoying Pluribus. I think I'm saying that right. Everyone is absolutely ass-licking that show. Vince Gilligan, the director of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, both elite shows, but Pluribus hasn't done it to that level for me. Then yesterday we had the first episode drop of season 2 of Fallout. Got that watched. Solid first episode of season 2. I did enjoy season 1 towards the back end of it. It took me a few episodes to get fully into it, but no, it is a good watch. And who doesn't like a weekly release? It always builds up that extra little bit of hype and sort of excitement for the next episode. But yeah, going to get about 3,000 steps boxed off here, post-workout is fully prepped, and then the pre-workout meal we have our eggs and sourdough. So that will be 225 sourdough, 2 eggs, 50 smoked salmon. Actually treated myself to the Leap smoked salmon. It was reduced in Asda, so you know, here I'll go for the wild caught stuff as a treat. It was only like a fiver. It was like £3 reduced in price. 50 smoked salmon, 100 veg, 100 banana, and I will be having a little treat, a little build and bake blondie brownie. One of those, an Oreo build and bake, left it out alongside the pre-meal, and all I have done to allot calories for that, they're only a little 130 calorie sweet potato thing, concoction you could say. Simply pulled out 10 grams of my intra-carb, because I have 45 grams on a full body training day, so 35 is more than enough to aid my training performance. And alongside that 10 gram intra-carb, we have pulled out 30 grams of dates, so that comes out to around my 3,000 calorie mark. 3,000 calorie mark? Sorry, my mind was elsewhere. 130 calorie mark. I got distracted because I realised I said on the cam I was 179 pounds this morning. I was not. I've been 179 pounds the last 2 days, but after yesterday's rest day, we did in fact drop 1.6 pounds down to 177.4. So I am trying to hold body weight a tad over the December time until January, where I'll start pushing up a little more, not because I don't think I can manage off-plan occasions and social occasions while pushing up body weight. No, it's not that. It is simply because my baseline food got very high at a point, and then body weight wasn't coming on, and then it just piled on like 4 pounds within 2 weeks. So I'm dropping off 1.5 pounds of that or so, and then I'm just sort of solidifying this body weight before pushing on. Nothing to do with not controlling off-plan occasions. Hi, could I just get a large latte? Could I get that with an extra shot, please? And
which latte is that, sorry?
Just a large regular latte, please.
A large latte with an extra shot?
Yes, please. And could I also get a decaf iced latte with oat milk, please?
Decaf iced latte with oat milk?
Yes, please. That's everything. That's everything.
No worries, have a nice, thank you.
Thank you. Watch the Prague vlog, you'll have seen I treated myself to Poppy treated me. It was her treat. She bought me I asked for it, but she paid. An iced brown sugar oat shake and espresso, and it reminded me of last off season enjoying the little fruits of life, a nice Starbucks drink. So Mum's at home today, her day off work as well, so treated her to a large latte. That'll be a nice surprise. Bringing it home, she gets the extra shot because she's an absolute fiend for caffeine. I'm going decaf because I've had my Nespresso this morning. We went for day 18 of the Nespresso Advent Calendar. Was a Costa Rica pod. Not my favourite, around the middle of the bunch, but we have a Lando Norris Monster in the fridge waiting for us as well. So we'll be having that as my second caffeinated beverage. So we will keep this Starbucks order as decaf. Now, on the note of caffeine intake, let's talk stimulant intake. I like to keep it in the first 4 or 5 hours of wake. My routine is to try turn everything off and actually be trying to get to sleep 9 hours before I have to wake up, so that gives you a 15-hour day. If you get your caffeine in 4 or 5 hours after wake, that gives you 10 hours for that caffeine to start wearing off, the half-life to start dissipating, meaning you have the least amount of caffeine in your system as possible to uphold sleep quality. If you're nailing a caffeine serving like early afternoon and you go to bed at a reasonable time, that's in your system. If we think caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours, a 100 milligram serving 8 hours later is potentially still 50 milligrams in your system, and that is affecting your sleep, lads. So, pre-workout meal is going down. A little bit of content planning after I got home from my walk has been done, but I shall show you the sourdough meal. Scroll down, we have 80 beetroot, eggs, sourdough, banana on toast, a little bit of cinnamon. I know I have went against my once ways of keeping cinnamon away from the pre-workout window. And we have the Build and Break Brownie Oreo edition. I have nibbled at it to make sure it was defrosted enough to be edible, and it has indeed. So a little bit of calories pulled away from the day to allot that in. Just a little treat, you know. I figured when I acknowledged that I wasn't going to be having an off plan every single week of this push up. You know, I wanted to have these little things, just to have them once and say I've had the sweet potato brownie company in my life. I've done that before, but like just like a little treat, because like I'm not off plan until Christmas most likely, so just having a brownie once a week, 130 calorie brownies, just like my off plan for that week, even though I'm still a lot in calories for it, has been a very good approach. But yeah, treated myself to the Atlantic grown salmon, or Atlantic wild caught salmon. So muscle built in this full body session is going to be tenfold because of the nutrient quality. 2 caps of magnesium, 1 cap of GDA before this meal, just so I am uptaking these carbs very effectively going into the full body session. Help with pumps. That's something I was like commented on. That pumps weren't that great, so I put the GDA into the mix. Make sure carbs are being directed to the muscles, and give myself no excuse to not get a gnarly pump. But we'll dig in. Likely we'll pull up some bro chat, or potentially Butcher or Noah have uploaded new YouTube videos. Might stick one of them on. Actually no, finish the NPC podcast with this meal. Get to the gym, do a bit more work, walk after there's too many things on my mind. Walk after this meal, do a little bit more work, and head to the gym. So I shall see you in a bit.
Whey based sandwich.
That's
A little
actually
whey-based
got in
sandwich.
film.
Because I've got
Peak
like
food focus.
I've got 60 grams, so I put like 3/4 of it on first.
That's
and
a
I
lot of
put-
whey. High protein intake.
Yeah, well, I can take it, mate. So I've got more muscle.
Peak digestion.
I've got more muscle.
Post workout wars. Good session.
Yeah, well, it's good.
Yeah. Mega. Had a very good session. Progressions across the board as per, and this is becoming a bit of a tradition. The post workout in the Clio. It's good wee tradition. But post workout is here. I've got custard cream of rice, and maple pecan naughty boy whey, dark chocolate berries, dates banana. It's just phenomenal. Just looking at it like, wow, this is great. I'm trying to keep myself a little food focused. I don't want to completely lose my care for food, because better digestion, you know, it's all I fucking talk about at the minute. It's went from fasted blood glucose to frequency, to fasted blood glucose to volume, to food focus and digestion.
Frequency again.
Yeah, probably. Frequency always stays in the mix. And what's your combo for post workout?
I've got TWP Gold Bar Cream of Rice. Then I've got the Cookie Dough Brownie TWP Whey.
Sexy.
So good.
So we will enjoy this. I've also got a new little spoon. I've done an espresso order for a D scale. Wait, is there a logo on it? There's no logo. Wait, at the top? Yeah.
Looks like a wee measuring spoon.
Nespresso, it probably is something to do with that, but I'm eating my cream of rice with it because I spent 38 quid on a combo of 2 mugs and 2 spoons, so they're getting used. It's mega though. So enjoy the post workout and then back into the gym for steps. So post workout has been eaten, as you've seen with Butcher. Another meal has been eaten since I got home from the gym. Now when I eat that post workout, since the gym is a 45-minute drive away, it's like I get home and I'm basically having to eat straight away, because I do steps after my post workout meal. I go back into the gym, get on the treadmill, because I just want it that bad, you know. I just love digestion, bro. But I put up a question box for some questions that people wanted to get answered on the YouTube. So I'm going to fire through these before the evening wraps up with the Jonas Brothers Christmas movie. That is what's going down this evening with a bowl of oats. It's currently 6:15. Movie. We plan to start the movie at 7. Oats, final meal, probably going in at about 8. All other boxes for the day ticked off, already over my steps actually, but I will still walk after that oats meal because, digestion, bro, blood glucose management, staying insulin sensitive for a good push up. So, question number 1, very good one actually from Mr. Megerton, Matt Egerton or Megatron, you can call him 3 names. What's one of the biggest frustrations you have as an online coach? Very good question. One that means you can all get some sort of insight on how to be a good client. And I had to think about this, and the way I think it comes down to the way you coach. I was actually talking to one of my clients earlier on. That the more they're in contact with me, the better I think their process is going to go, the more progress they're going to make. It's how I like to coach. I like to be very hands on. I want to talk to every client almost every day or as frequently as possible for when it's warranted. I don't want them telling me that they're doing their meal prep and they have to go to Tesco to get frozen berries, but telling me things about like issues that arise throughout the week or wins throughout the week. If they can text me every day about something like that, or like just especially issues that come up through the week, I love it. So the answer to the question is simply lacking communication as a client. Now, if you're going from you're receiving your check-in on your check-in day and not texting me, getting in contact till the next check-in day, that's not good. That's not how we're going to progress. Can you just imagine the progress that someone that texts me every day with issues when they arise is going to make? They're going to make so much more progress being in contact with that coach every day rather than leaving it a week about. So I like to constantly be hands on with my coaching. If we do have a digestion problem, so like prime example, sending like talking about stool movement, or consistency of bowel movements, frequency, how meals are digesting on the daily. But yeah, I've rambled on enough, but the answer is simply just not communicating. Clients not communicating to me as their coach. I just constantly want to be in the loop with their process, so I can constantly be troubleshooting, and if there is an issue, it's not being dragged on through days or weeks longer than it needs to be. Mr. Cammy Owens, thank you for the question, mate. How are you approaching training over Christmas, the Christmas period, with time off, etc.? Now, Christmas period doesn't change my training regime. It changes my eating very slightly. I'm going to have Christmas Day off plan, but I will still be training on Christmas Day. Does it fall on a training day? Yes, I'm going to train. I think it's only a good thing if your family is accepting of it. Mine weren't last year, it being the first Christmas that I've ever trained. But they came around to it. The fact that I still got to dinner on time, they were happy enough. But like, if you think you're going to be eating off plan, this isn't going to be a little lecture on how to approach Christmas. I absolutely hate that topic. Just eat the damn food and don't be a dick. If you're eating in actual meal like increments or segments and not just constantly snacking throughout the day, it's really hard to fuck up Christmas Day. It is one day, lads. But especially if you train, if you're worried about overeating, train, utilize that. Have a small little pre-workout meal, maybe a percentage of what you normally have. Me personally, my favourite meal on plan is a bowl of oats, so I'm going to have just a little small bowl of oats, pre-workout, well, full body since it lands on a Thursday. Me, Butcher, and Cameron will all be in the gym. The lifestyle loops. I'll probably Butcher's got leg pull. I know me and him are both going to have an intra-carb, an AAA. I'm not sure what Cameron's approach is. But yeah, you have a small pre-workout meal, have your intra, have a very productive session. Force or give your body a reason to utilize the extra food that may go in on Christmas Day, and you're gonna be sound. Realistically, post-workout meal is normally an 1,000 calorie meal almost for me. So that's just going to be a Christmas dinner. And before dessert is touched, I'm not touching 1,000 calories of Christmas dinner. I don't think. Depends how many pigs in blankets I have or stuffing. To be fair, I could probably do 1,000 calories of straight stuffing. That is they're the top two Christmas foods, bar dessert. But if you gave me a plate of simply pigs in blankets and stuffing, that would be my ideal pre-workout meal. But to fully answer the question, mate, it doesn't change anything to do with training. I have the day off in terms of eating on plan, and note how I still want to have an on plan meal pre-workout because I simply love my meals, and that's why adherence is so easy for me. Now, I did get quite a few questions, but I'm going to save them for the Lifestyle Loops podcast that we're filming tomorrow, 5 p.m. That's going down. So hopefully, tomorrow's Friday, hopefully that is up for your listening pleasure or viewing pleasure if you watch it on YouTube on Saturday. So the last few questions that I'm going to go through, we have two from Mr. James Linford, so I appreciate that, mate. First one, I'm not going to answer because I might sound like an absolute ignorant dickhead here, but I hate this question. One exercise for each muscle group, what you picking? Does anybody that asks this question actually care, or is it just like a means of firing a question in? I know personally when this gets asked on a podcast, I skip through that part. Same with like favorite exercise for each muscle group, or you have 10 exercises for the rest of your life. What are you choosing? I absolutely hate those questions. I don't know why, but I'm just not interested. So sorry, yeah, mate. James, you might think I'm absolutely ignorant, but I promise I'm not. I just hate that question. Now, finally, the last one from James. How are you currently feeling coming out of a diet? Energy, libido, etc. Now, I am sitting currently, this morning, I had a little weight drop off, which I touched on earlier in the video. 1.6 pounds dropped off last night, overnight. So 177.4 this morning, averaging around 179 this week, I believe, or maybe 178 and a half. And that is 3 pounds up from my end of diet weight. The lowest weight I've actually seen is 173.2, so not even 6 pounds up really. And biofeedback is all fully firing again. There's actually nothing negative, no negative diet adaptations still on the cards. And we're literally 6 or 7 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks post diet. Which is great. Libido and general energy throughout the day definitely dipped off. Even though I wasn't close to stage lean, I pulled off over 40 pounds of body weight in a 18-week span. You're gonna feel that. Wasn't stage lean, but definitely lost like libido. Because food got low, cardio expenditure got high, and my body was just very fatigued, so it was literally on energy preservation mode. But libido's fully back, wrestling the little man down in the mornings, for sure. Appetite, digestion, I rant on enough about them. They're both fully firing. Day-to-day energy is brilliant compared to what it was. I'm still actually on the same amount of caffeine as I exited the diet on. I still like my caffeine servings. Maybe it's like a little less. I think I pushed it to potentially 2 monsters, 2 coffees a day, plus my rise and shine. But no, biofeedback is in a great spot alongside training being superb. I was actually touching on the session today. No, I didn't get any footage of that for the YouTube, but phenomenal session. I'm actually shocked how well I'm training at this body weight. You know, I was pushing past 215 pounds peak body weight, and now I'm 179 and I'm still training. You know, I'm putting up lifetime numbers, so it is great, and it's just the overall feel of training. So, YouTube, where am I picking you guys back up now? We have just wrapped up the Lifestyle Loops Christmas special episode 2, and we're already getting a Christmas special in. But it is the next day. I didn't record my final meal last night because we were enjoying the Christmas movie, the Jonas Brothers Christmas movie, and I didn't want to waste time recording a clip for the YouTube while I'm making my meal and missing more of the movie. So I'm bringing you back to something I said earlier in the video. I wanted to showcase how to take a blood glucose reading. Now, what I'm taking at the minute is a postprandial reading. So I have eaten today, postprandial, post eating. My last meal was 3 hours and 45 minutes ago. Pro tip, put a stopwatch on your Apple Watch to keep on top of your meal timings. Now the podcast did tick over a little bit longer than we thought, so hence why I'm so far post meal. So blood glucose, very easy reading. It is or very easy to take a reading. I do advise you to take postprandial readings and fasted readings. You can get your fasted reading skewed sometimes. One, if you're taking a bolus dose of growth hormone before bed, but I'm assuming a lot of my followers or viewers won't be doing so. But the main thing that will be skewing your blood glucose reading fasted is basically hydration, maybe a poor sleep, fatigue the night before. But you want to also take postprandial readings to see how your body is utilizing that food. So at the minute, fasted in the morning, I am sitting in the like 4.0 sort of mark, and that's really good. If we look at general guidelines for blood glucose, 3.9 to 5.5 millimoles, moles per litre is a general guideline. Anything above 5.5 fasted and you're going into pre-diabetic ranges. So just prepped myself. It's really easy to do. You can literally order this Sinocare blood glucose monitor, Safe AQ2 or something it's called, and you can follow what I've just done. You can watch my hands. You generally just have to get the tiniest little bit of blood and tap it on to the top of the monitor, and it will count down and see what we're sitting at. So 6.4. Now 6.4 post meal. What do we think of that? It is not terrible considering I am so deep into the day. I don't think it's bad reading whatsoever. In terms of what I've got to do tonight, I've got the oats in the microwave. They're currently cooking up, so I will show you them. Yes lads, here we have it, the final meal, the rest day bowl of oats. You're getting to see a little bit better than a training day bowl of oats. We've got an extra 30 dates and an extra 5 grams of oats compared to a training day, just because my carbs are backloaded towards the end of the day on a rest day. So I shall give you the meal in its full glory. Smash both my glass bowls, so we've been eating out of the glass Tupperware, the final meal. But you know, it's quite nice as long as it's glass. The oats will cook well. But I wanted to touch upon, first of all, I'll give you the ingredients for this meal actually. 75 oats, some ESN flavour powder mixed in with 3 grams of salt. Then we went in with the 15 grams of 100% dark chocolate, 100 grams of berries mixed between blueberries and raspberries, 100 grams of banana, 60 grams of dates, 40 grams of whey made into a paste. We went with the white chocolate caramel biscuit Naughty Boy tonight, and some nutmeg and cinnamon sprinkled over for that blood glucose, blood sugar control. But I wanted to give a little bit of context on that blood glucose reading postprandial. So 6.4. Now I take that, and it's not bad for a postprandial reading, especially my last meal being 140 grams of carbs, I believe, 225 sourdough, and 100 grams of banana in that meal. But what I look upon mostly when assessing insulin sensitivity and just how well you're uptaking food is your body composition is going to be a major dictator on how you're utilizing food. So I know I'm in a lean composition, likely not going to be insulin resistant. My fasted readings at the minute, as I said, are sitting around 4.0. Now tomorrow is Saturday morning. It's Friday night tonight. So that makes sense. So I do take my fasted blood glucose and fasted blood pressure on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings, whichever I have time, but I will be doing them in the morning. So as long as I'm assessing my fasted readings, because that's the one thing that's actually consistent, with a postprandial reading. I listed some benefits to a postprandial reading, but there's also the negatives of not every variable is the same, especially this late in the evening, coming up to 9 o'clock. That big of a gap between my last meal. There's so much room for basically things changing, variables being out of place. So fasted, really, it is more standardized as long as you're getting a good night's sleep and you standardize the amount of fluid you have, which I do. So as long as that's not trending up too quickly, obviously it's going to trend up past 4.0, this push up, as body composition starts to diminish that bit. But that's what we do in the off season. We try to hold on to composition, stay in a productive spot to build muscle. And lastly, the other thing that basically the king of monitoring insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance is your HbA1c score on your labs. And that is basically a rundown for anyone that doesn't know, is more of a continuous blood glucose monitoring across 3 months. So basically an average of your blood glucose levels across that last 3 month span. But that is your best measure for insulin sensitivity, because it is not just a fasted blood glucose reading, which can be skewed because you don't get an insight to your fasted insulin score as well. You could have a high or low blood glucose, which you think is great, but you could also have very high fasted insulin. So the insulin presence in your blood, even fasted, is very high. That is going to cause insulin resistance. So just wanted to give a bit of context on your blood glucose measurements, readings, and of course any questions you have or may have on that topic, feel free to drop me a DM. This is what I do the day in, day out of my life. So I don't mind talking about these things. I enjoy conversing with people about their situations, or just possibly about the topic, and trying to even expand their knowledge or even my own knowledge surrounding something. So we'll leave that video here, guys. Hopefully I will get this out Sunday at the latest. Saturday is normally a bit of a busy day for me, so it might not be up tomorrow, but Sunday at the latest for your viewing pleasure. So if you did make it to the end, thank you very much. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video.